Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you
Well, speaking of trippy, let's transition over to Frank's band because
Yeah.
Frank had me, told us what some of the songs were. I listened to some of them, and as I told you guys, it sounded to me like my church organist suddenly found cocaine and is on a 2-day bender. Like, oh, what is going on in some of this stuff? But Frank, let's talk about your group that doesn't get the airplay it deserves, in your opinion.
Yeah, I've suggested to Mark to do Emerson, Lake and Palmer, a few times, ELP. He did ELP, but he did Emerson, Lake and Powell,
Right.
which was the reformation without Carl Palmer in the mid 80s. Touch and Go is the song. And, that was fine and everything, but
Good tune.
It's not the original. So Emerson, Lake and Palmer was one of the first super groups to form in the late 60s, early 70s. You had Keith Emerson from The Nice, Carl Palmer from, love these names, Atomic Rooster, and Greg Lake from King Crimson get together. And they released their debut album in 1970. And I got to know Emerson, Lake and Palmer from when I was in high school. A kid moved in across the street who was in my grade from Rockland County, and Spiro, if you're out there. And I would go to his room and he would play music, and he was way into prog, Rush, all these bands. And then he put on Emerson, Lake and Palmer's debut album. There's a song on there, Tank, which is an instrumental. And there's a drum solo in the middle of it, and it just blew me away. I was like, what the hell is this?
The drum solo is not in the middle of it. It's basically a song on the beginning and the end of a drum solo. I mean,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And there's a live video of Carl Palmer doing, I think, the drum solo from Tank recently. The guy's in his 70s, and he's a banger, and he's amazing. But love that one, Tank, an instrumental, which is not something that you normally get on Song of the Day, right? An instrumental with a drum, that's basically a drum solo. Then you have another tune that I really like called From the Beginning.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is one of the few rock songs that I think my dad enjoyed. My brother was into ELP. He was playing this song, and usually he would come downstairs and be, turn that crap down. But he came downstairs. He's like, "What's this? This is kind of good," So I guess for somebody who was into Perry Como and those singers, he had a thing for ELP. So
I think that might tell you something.
Yeah.
If that's the band that your dad likes,
Yeah. You know what? Not so bad. I'll take it. But From the Beginning, we'll put that out there because he liked it. And then also off the first album.
Hold on a second. But From the Beginning, that got a bit of airplay. That one sounded familiar to me, more so than Tank.
Yeah, it did. I mean, obviously, Tank was not put out there to be a hit, but it was just them jamming. But yeah, From the Beginning got airplay. And then I'll pick another song off the first album called Knife Edge, which has a nice riff to it. So we'll go with those three, with the song of the day being Tank.
All right, awesome. The band that I've tried to bring to the crowd, the Caver crowd, is a band called The Hold Steady. So The Hold Steady's been around since I think early 2000. Brooklyn band. They had moved to Minneapolis, and they do a lot of shows coming back. They consider themselves a New York City band. I saw a lot of interviews with like David Letterman and those sorts. They're a New York City band. But what's interesting about it is I think they're a solid rock band, right? Much like our friend Porcupine Tree here. But the singer, and the lyricist, right? He basically writes this awesome poetry, and all music is basically poetry to music, right? But in this case, his singing is more or less reading, the poetry that he had. Like, he's really not doing a lot with the notes. So it's a very interesting take if you listen to some of the music. So I really love the band. 2005, they came out with I think it's their second or third album. It's called Separation Sunday. That was really good. It's actually a concept album. that he sort of thought of a prostitute, and she's dealing with her pimp, and then this guy's falling in love with her. So if you kind of like can listen to all the different songs, there's a great variety within the songs too. You'll hear ballads, you'll hear rock, you'll hear some swing kind of stuff. It's interesting. So that was great. Then they came out with, and just a year later, I think it was 2006. Yeah, Boys and Girls in America. So that actually was a big hit for them, if you will. Rolling Stone had it as number 8 of the best albums in 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like you kind of never heard of these guys. So Craig Finn is the name of the lead run of the band, the lyricist and lead singer. He had said, I try to make movies for your mind set to music, which I thought was, kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's a couple songs that come off of those 2 albums, 2005 and 6. That's really where I focus a lot on these guys. There's a song called Stuck Between Stations. And so that's kind of like the idea of, you have these clarity in your life, but then sometimes you get stuck between stations. It's fuzzy, right? You're not really one or the other. So it's kind of nice play on words there. Good lyrics in that song. It's also a great rock tune. And Lord, I'm Discouraged is a ballad. But what I love about this song is it's 5 minutes, but at the 3-minute mark, they go into a guitar solo. And guys, I know guitar solos, right? This is a rock guitar solo that I cannot believe is 45 seconds. It doesn't get more play, if you will. It's just a phenomenal solo. So like those guys are a college band. They come around to, Brooklyn and Minneapolis. They don't do a ton of stuff. They go to London every now and then. But one of the things I liked about them was when COVID hit, they're one of the few bands, they did a live show, all video, and they were showing all the people that were doing like us, Teams and Zoom and everything, and they were on, and people were able to kind of put up their notes, and they would basically live, be able to talk about the song, going like this. And
wow.
So yeah, they're really into their fans. So the Hold Steady, if you get a chance, pretty cool stuff.
So out of Brooklyn, why Minneapolis so much?
I don't know why they decided to get out. I mean, I think it was just forming some of the players together, and that was the place to go. And interestingly, it gave them a lot of content. Again, if you listen to especially the first album, or the first, but the one I talked about as the concept album, they talk about the Twin Cities, right, and being on the Mississippi River and all this kind of stuff. So maybe it was just a break from the New York City life, and give them some more content for the songs.
That's interesting because there's a band that's similar to that, but they did it in the reverse. Zebra, if you remember Zebra.
I do remember Zebra.
Was out of New Orleans, right? They're out of New Orleans, but they got out of New Orleans because they weren't getting any traction. They went up to Long Island, and they got huge on Long Island, which could you imagine 2 places more different in the U.S. than Long Island and New Orleans? But anyway. They were so big there, they actually moved there to Long Island, and they were getting airplay on all the New York radio stations. And then that's when they got the contract to do the first album. And they're playing here December 28th, but I'm not going to be able to see them. So, but yeah, that's a band that did that, where they were from one place and moved to a totally different other place.
Yeah,
the local crowd latched on. Yeah,
they come down. They sell out the Brooklyn Bowl, I think it's called. It's just that they sell out constantly every time they go for like a week. They basically do a little stay there. So
yeah, it's interesting when you gave me the link to that originally. It sounds like the way he, like you said, he reads his poetry kind of like if you ever listened to the Circle Jerks. I actually I had to double check and see if it was the same guy because he does the same kind of delivery and he has the same kind of tone to it.
Okay.
So you've ever heard from a Repo Man soundtrack? There's a song called Pablo Picasso is Not an Asshole.
Oh yeah.
It sounds, to me, it just sounds very similar. I was like, man, that's the same guy, but it's not, obviously. But
yeah, I thought the Modern Lovers did that as well. The Pablo Picasso song.
Yep.
I could, if I'm right about that, that was the band that the Cars drummer was in before he joined the Cars. But
yeah, I think the replacements were a pretty big influence, is what I was reading. But yeah,
they drink as much.
I don't know.
don't think anybody drinks as much as drank as much as the replacement.
It's a high bar standard right there.
That is.
So, all right. Well, listen, we'll have 6 links for folks. We'll have Mark post underneath the video, 2 from each of the bands. As you've heard, we invite you guys to take a listen. We invite everybody as well. Maybe, throw bands that you want to hear, DM Mark as well. Get some more people involved in this rat race. He loves talking with folks. I think hopefully he likes the pirate radios too. These are kind of fun for him. He doesn't have to do any work, but
it's
I know
good. Participation from the
you're
community.
fine.
Yeah, great. It's a great time. So I invite everybody to ping him or throw in your general comments what you think about these bands if you get a chance to listen to us, or think about some bands that you want us to, or yourself, to go ahead and do some song of days about. Well, we're taking requests, folks. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Pirate radio requests.
No denials from Pirate Radio. We accept all.
Absolutely. Mike, this is a great idea, man. Had fun. I appreciate you reaching out. And I think we got a couple other ideas we might be swirling around here for some future 2025 Pirate Radio. So I look forward to doing that again with you guys.
Taking so long between episodes, we'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. The nerve of this guy having a life, I tell you. All right, gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful holiday. And as usual, we will catch you on the flip side.
To see the name of the ship was the Billy of Tea. The winds blew up her
Click more for a second. Oh, he's using the web.
Oh, yeah. Do I need to go into it?
So maybe Paul,
he can't change the background on the web.
Oh no.
Yeah, this will be like the whole thing. He's gonna have to download a client.
Oh yeah.
If it goes the way that sharing went, we're gonna be here until 10 o'clock. So, all right.
Yeah.
I think the hobby thing's beautiful. I love the background. We're good.
Yeah, I mean,
that's his show.
It's his own cave. He's got the hobby cave going.
Yeah, there you go. Rock cave, hobby cave. I love
Action figure cave.
I call it the nerd cave. Actually, my wife calls it the nerd cave, but that's fine.
Yeah, okay. First of all the caves that are out there, right? And I don't know if Michael, you've ever been into the West Hartford cave, but obviously the Rock Cave is insane. It's unbelievable. But you're coming in a close second. I can only see what's behind you, but I got to imagine that if we were to pan around in that place, that would be a pretty intense cave there.
I don't want to do that. So I got a beginner ukulele for like $70, and basically every night after the meetings, I'll go back to the hotel room and I would attempt to learn how to play, much to the dismay of all the people living around me.
In the Motel 6 at the nerd conference.
After I came back, Philip introduced me to my new friend, Mike Jim, who owns Uke Republic, which is a ukulele-only mega store in Atlanta. So started going there and buying a couple, and next thing you know, I think I have 14 now.
Wow.
So I come home, I play them. I'm not very good, but it's just fun.
That's great. Is there a lot of competition for that ukulele megastore? Are there other regional ukulele stores that it competes with, or is it just...
Honestly, I mean, there are some
really
ships worldwide. So I mean, he sends stuff to Australia, Europe, all over the place.
All right, so he's a global ukulele dealer. Wow.
He is indeed.
So now here's a dumb question: are there electric ukuleles?
Yes.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, a little eruption on the ukulele, right?
Ukulele.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
look at this. This is crazy, man. Wow. Hold on. He's gonna plug that thing in, right? I mean,
electric ukuleles.
Michael, can you play that thing?
Well, there's
or is it
electric
just a collector's item?
Cellos.
No, I play it. I play it very poorly, but
that's pretty. Is that the $1,400 ukulele?
No.
Good Lord. Okay. This is more than I thought I would learn tonight. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Oh, here's another one in a case.
Oh, he's taking out
This
the
is
Godfather.
serious.
He's taking out the Godfather right here. I can feel it. This is
Okay.
gonna be the one. I'm gonna wipe it down.
Awesome. Service. Thank you, Ty.
Another.
Oh my gosh. I don't have that kind of service. Hey,
Hey, spouse in the game.
You're not recording, are you?
No.
we might be. I don't know.
But
We'll
I'm
see.
in second. Okay.
Guest appearance.
Oh, you don't want me?
You're on camera.
That's fair enough.
Bringing beers.
Here, I'll bring you guys one too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, delicious.
You could just maybe the part where I just grabbed a beer out of thin air.
Out of nowhere, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But your point was pretty funny, Michael. You're like, if he knew how much time that we're spending worrying about what shirts we're going to wear. As you can tell, we're fashion guys. I mean, look at us. I mean, we are. I'm surprised that the magazines are not asking us to start getting on the cover.
Well, like I said, if I mean, I do have a Rock Cave shirt, but I'm like, wow, if all three of us go on there, it's gonna look like a recruiting video for a cult or something, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Guys, I mean, we've been going back and forth for years now, and it's like it's gotten to the point where every time I post something on one of Mark's videos, I'm like, what's Paul saying about this? And what's Frank saying about this? It's like, how come they're not responding to my post? God damn it! What's going on?
Like, yeah, don't take that as offensive. That basically means that something happened that morning and I didn't pay attention. And then you're like, you guys are literally my only friends on Facebook. You two and Mark. That's it.
That's
I
funny.
don't have anybody else that I'm friends with. I only joined this thing for the Rock Game.
That's funny.
Yeah.